G'day folks, welcome to Stuff and Such, where all sorts of such and stuff happens. Mr. Austin over there on Homesteady put together a little playlist, little challenge, little throwdown for the homesteaders community to make a video of a whole bunch of little things that we wish we knew before we started homesteading, or rather things we may have learned on the way. So I scratched down a whole bunch of things in the night when things were cold and the brain was pondering around, and I made up a wee bit of a list. But it's flipping cold out, so I'm going to go into the milking parlor and we're not going to wander around and see all the little animals like the other channels did. Watched a bunch of them, pretty nifty. A lot of little interesting channels out there. Anyways, let's get into the milking parlor so we're not freezing our butt off. Here we go. Alrighty. So, Austin, he said 3 things. He had a criteria, something practical, a wild card, and hard truth that you wish you knew before he started homesteading. He mentioned his first one for a practical thing that was handy for homesteading was coveralls. Now, I'm completely the opposite of him when it comes to coveralls. Just simply how I go about my day. I couldn't be bothered with coveralls, but I guess if I was going to pick a handy thing that I couldn't do without, and I know when I don't have it, is always, if you look in all my videos, I always have my fixed blade knife on a belt in a leather sheath made by the local Mennonites, and I've used that thing for now, going on hokey doodle 14 years I've had that set of knives, and they started out, they were about this long, and over the years I've lost about an inch just from sharpening, and they're not anything great. They're just a junky knife. They're made by Crush. The company, as far as I know, doesn't even exist anymore, but they're soft steel, but sharpen it with a file, gets it so you can shave, and then it goes dull super quick. But where my applications are, I'm often using it as a screwdriver, or cutting open bales, or sharpening a pencil. I used to, when I was a youngster, didn't have really a farm, I'd have a folding knife in my pocket. Guess I still do, actually. See how long is it taking to get it out? There, we got my pliers out, and there we go, we finally got a knife. But I always found that, man, it's just bloody slow, and it falls out of your pocket. And whereas you got it now, and you put it away, and you carry it on with your day, and away you go. Another handy thing I found, I don't like coveralls, but I always had a hard time finding pants because let's just face it, I'm kind of on the fluffy side. But I couldn't find a pair of pants that was, one, economical and tough. You'd go to Walmart and get their jeans, and you'd take a semi-long stride and rips out the crotch, and then you're got a little breezy, and that's not much fun neither. But anyways, about how long I've had them. It's been a long. Time's flying. At least a decade. But anyways, Walmart sells these pants, and they're I'll try and flash something up on the screen right about now, but they're I think they're Rustler Carpenter pants. They're only about $19 Canadian, so that might be about 7 cents for American folks. But they're I'll scooch right up here. But they're a hard canvas pant, and if you get little holes in them, they don't just rip like a pair of cheap jeans. You can see over here I got one that's hole right through to the pocket, but they're just tough. So I buy them by the 10-pack because I don't like fooling around shopping in stores and stuff, so I just go on the old Walmart and type in my credit card and say send me 10 more pairs, and then I don't worry about shopping anymore. And they're super comfortable. The crotches are nice and high. Seems like when you get kind of on the fluffy side, the crotch gets lower and lower and lower, so you're starting to look a little bit kind of baggy in the back end. But anyways, that's moving on from that situation. Let's go on to something different. Next one was Wild Card, and I struggled with that, but he did is a milk cow. You save money with a milk cow, and now I'm going to push back a little bit on Mr. Austin there, and the reason I would do that is because I think he missed the most fundamental calculation when he calculated that. There's other benefits. One, you get the milk cow, you get extra milk. You don't have to go out and buy $100 bag of milk replacer for those other animals on the farm. The milk cow, I find, and I didn't realize it until I actually started milking a cow, but that milk cow, it becomes the heart of a farm. It's it's the center nucleus, or I don't know science. What am I talking about here? The center thing in the center of a cell, nuclei or mitochondria. I'll give up. But anyways, so the cow, it goes out and it eats grass. Now, there's a lot of creatures out there that can't eat grass. And if they tried to eat just grass, they'd keel over and die. But that cow can then go produce milk, and anything excess can really, it just gets recycled back into another animal, whether it's a kid with some chocolate milk, or whether it's a lamb that needs milk, or a goat, or a pig, or a chicken, or those are just ones I'm thinking off the top of my head, or even your dogs. All those other animals can't really get by on just grass, but you can lower your feed bills on their end too by just having extra milk on hand. Not saying nothing about going and not having to drive to the convenience store, because, well, your middle-aged child went and used up all the milk on Fruit Loops and didn't let you know, and you just got back from the grocery store run, and now you had no milk in the fridge, and so you got to go and drive and go get some more to put in your oatmeal. But anyways, that's not covering what the most fundamental thing I believe he missed in that calculation, and I'll just show you right now. That right there, or that right there. Hey, back up now. Back up now. Right there, Mabel. That right there is exactly why his calculation is incomplete. If you run, well, let's go backwards. Cold, or warm rather. Say bye. And you too. So over there, you saw what I believe to be the missing letter in his algebra. And that's having a calf. You get no milk if you don't have a calf. But I don't know what other people's markets are. But now our market for replacement milk cows is quite strong. Those calves out there, if we get them so that they're 2 years old and bred, they'll go and fetch, especially being they're a bit of a premium breed. Those standard jerseys that are polled, they will bring around $2,500 or better. Probably close to $35 if we're being honest. But anyways, that cow, the milk cow that stands here, she pretty much would have a calf every year, providing everything's well and good. So being able to offset that expenditure of feed and stuff by having a calf that's sellable, and the reason they're worth as much as theirs, we use sex semen, AI bred, and the difference in actual straws for a standard jersey is about $20. So it seems kind of crazy not to just go ahead and get 6 Jersey semen and pretty much guarantee you're going to have a heifer calf. So that's all I'll say on that matter. Next one we had on his list was loneliness. And I tell you, when he spoke about that, man, that set home, you know. Like, it's all good, I guess. Like, you meet folks, you know, family, and then, you know, like folks, you know, at church and stuff. But to have someone that you can truly sit down and chew the fat over, say, about lambing season, or how crops are doing, or how'd your farm do and how'd their farm do, and then help each other back and forth on working bees and stuff. I agree, it is a lonely endeavor being on the farm. And I think, see, I read a lot of old books. That's kind of obvious. Probably a bunch of you are part of that group that, like, I record audiobooks in case you're new to this channel. So I read a lot of older books, and you see how their communities worked back then. Our current generation of homesteader farmers, we're a black sheep in a sense, whereas before 50 to 100 years ago, and then millennia, whatever that means, there was communities were isolated and also all had a deep sense of community. And like even this last book that I'm reading, that was wrote in 1909, it talks about going to the feed mill and on every second Saturday, and the whole community would come together and shoot the breeze and have a big old chin wag, and then they'd ride home either together on the way if they're heading in the same way, or then they were also talking about going to little dances and stuff, and just kind of a general there was a community that really grew together in that sense. Whereas now, it's, at least in my own tiny little world, there's very, very few of us folk. The closest you could point to in our area of example that is the Mennonite community. But the problem with the Mennonite community, at least with our super old order, I think they're Orthodox, they don't seem to really be able to be allowed to be your friend. So they'll be super friendly and cordial, and they'll help you out here and there. But as for inviting them over to play checkers or whatever, I don't know, have a pulled pork night or something, that's not really an option. But there's a few out there in our community that certainly are grateful to have time to hang out with, but you just kind of wish it was a bit more. Anyways, that's enough of my chin wagging about that stuff. Well, let's get into my points of what I have to say. Now, first off, let me just preface this saying that I'm borderline mentally challenged, so don't take anything as gospel, or it's just an opinion about things, about what stuff and that. So, a hard truth. This one took some thinking about, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. I could be wrong. But I feel that people should be very careful taking farming advice from successful YouTube channels. Now you'd probably be like, well, what are you talking about? You're kind of a bit hypocritical there. Well, you're probably a bit right, but my point, I guess, is that if you're able to generate a large enough income off YouTube, it really takes the strain off your farming financial decisions. not always, there's obviously exceptions to these cases, but it just seems that if you need to make money, it might be wiser to look around your own little area and just see who's making money. Because if they're making money, well, there's a good chance you could probably do that too. And that kind of comes to another little point I was thinking about was, and it's a hard truth, and I don't have an answer for it, but it seems like it takes money to make money, especially in farming. Like with tech ideas, you can kind of come up with a new idea or a new invention, and you can grow it quick from almost nothing. But with farming, well, it's the chicken and the egg situation. Like, well, do you have a nice big chicken coop, and then how you can't afford the hens to fill the chicken coop, and well, you can afford the hens, but you can't afford the chicken coop, but you need the hens to make money off the eggs and stuff, but you got no coop to put them in, and that goes for any animal, whether it's a wintering shed for calving or lambing barn for calving. If you don't have those infrastructures available to you, it's super hard to get the livestock to fill them. Well, obviously they don't exist. It's super hard to raise livestock, make enough money to actually afford to build the infrastructure afterwards. It's a vicious circle, and I have no solution for it. So, but I guess that kind of leads into my next point a little bit, was to be that, and it was mentioned by another person, and I thought that's pretty clever of her, that outbuildings are very underappreciated. When we were buying our property here, I didn't really have too much idea on what I was planning on doing living here. It was kind of I wanted to live in this area, and I grew up here. And anyways, we looked at a few places that they had old buildings, and they were pretty rough looking. But looking back now, well, they're still standing 15 years later, 10 years later. And sure would be nice to put some sheep in there right now, or put some cows by it so they can stand on one side or the other to get out of the wind. And so those old barns and those old outbuildings, they're pretty valuable. And to build a brand new one, man, that costs an awful lot of money. Next little hard truth. I don't have them numbered, so if you are bored, I'm sorry. Let's go this one here. Limited market on niche items. That's one that I found out fairly early on. If you're trying to grow something that isn't conventional, so for example, Highland cows or Dexter cows, or I don't know, woolly pigs, coons. I have coons over there. That'll be in my next point. There's only so many people in a certain area that will tolerate something outside of convention. And if you are forced to liquidate fast with unconventional livestock, you can lose your shirt bad. Whereas if you just had, even if it wasn't Black Angus or just something kind of normal that you could put on a trailer and ship it to the sale barn, that can save your bacon. So the niche markets on livestock, in my opinion, they're really boom and bust, and something to just kind of think about. Now, if you're not really caring so much about actually making money, then have at her, give her all you want. But that kind of, I guess, leads a little bit into my, hey, shush. That goes into my next point. Well, I think it did. I kind of forget it now. Yeah. So I guess the next point was that homesteading, to homestead long term, you kind of need to start. How do I explain this? And this will be a disagreeable point from a lot of people. Homesteading is kind of like the act of beginning to live somewhere and establish yourself. But in order to do it long term with a financial plan of how you're going to afford to stay there, well, you sort of need to start to aim towards a farming mindset. And when I moved here, I kind of thought I was a bit of a homesteader, and I guess I kind of was. Named the place Stone Ridge Homestead, and then over the years, just things kind of, well, now it just seems I'm a farmer, and I raise cows, I raise bees, I raise sheep. I just am quite diversified, but my main goal is to try and raise things that either make an investment for later on, whether it's a herd of cows or it's to I lost my thought there. Got sidetracked, a bit ADHD. But anyways, let's move on. I imagine you're all gonna get bored by now. Oh yeah, one more quick thing. Hard truth. So, there's an old saying in business that it's easier to find one customer to spend $1,000 than it is to find 1,000 customers to spend $1. Now that's very true in my opinion. It's a lot easier to sell one cow for $3,000 than it is to sell, I don't know, let's do some quick math, 1,000 dozen eggs, for example. That's a lot of flipping. And one thing that I kind of should have known, but I didn't, was how much time and hours you'll spend from having your product finished in your hand, whether it's a jar of honey, a dozen eggs, a jar of soup, or a candle, or a bar of soap. How much time it takes from that finished product in your hand in your storehouse to get it to someone that hands you cash. You can sit at a market sale and pedal away, and you can spend your weekends for the next decade doing that. And man, that's a big price to pay. So I found there's this local Mennonite auction place here that what they do is that it's a wholesaler. Everyone in the Mennonite community, or anyone who's a grower, brings their goods, you put it out, and all the local buyers for all the market gardens and farmers markets, wherever the heck they're called, they buy it at wholesale price. So for example, a $20 jar of honey might sell for 16 to 17ish out there, but you sell 20 jars, you wave at it goodbye, and you say thank you for selling my stuff, and then you go back to your farm, and you don't sit all weekend at a farmer's market. And so that's one thing I found. You can do whatever you want, but anyways, I think I probably yammered on way too long, and you're probably sick of my face and my annoying voice. But if you're not annoyed of my voice, stick around and you can listen to my audiobooks that I upload every day. Hopefully, I get a chapter every day. I do all sorts of voices, whether it's "Hello, how are you?" versus "Hey, how's it going there, big fella?" All sorts of voices. It makes it super entertaining for you folks, and you can listen to them while you're bouncing along in your tractor or shoveling your manure and all sorts of fun stuff. But anyways, that's all I got for you now. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.